The young man looked at the beautiful woman he had just met, feeling pretty satisfied with how last night had gone. But just as Derek was getting ready to quietly sneak out, he suddenly realized his phone was missing. Turns out, the woman had already seen that move coming. She had locked Derek's phone inside a safe ahead of time, and according to her, she conveniently forgot the password. Of course, remembering it wasn't impossible. That depended entirely on how well Derek behaved. The second she started playing games like that, Derek instantly got irritated. But in the end, instead of arguing or fighting back, he chose to take a nap. Not for any deep reason. He was suddenly just way too tired. 2 hours later, Derek finally got his phone back, while Lisa drifted off into a groggy sleep. He assumed the two of them would never cross paths again. But what Derek didn't know was this. From the moment he met Lisa, he had already been pulled into a carefully designed trap. The second he got his phone back, Derek wasted no time leaving the hotel. At that moment, he only had one thought in his head: get home fast and bury this whole thing for good. By the time he got home, his wife Tracy was already asleep. Derek carefully sat beside the bed, overwhelmed with guilt, terrified she might notice something strange about him. He believed that if he acted normal enough, time would eventually smooth everything over. But what he never expected was that trouble would come far faster than he imagined. That same night, just after Derek lay down, strange noises suddenly echoed from upstairs. The sounds grew louder and softer at random, and his first instinct was that someone had broken into the house. He quietly got out of bed and slowly headed upstairs, grabbing a golf club from the closet for protection. But the moment he approached the hallway, a man dressed in black suddenly lunged at him from behind and slammed him to the floor. The intruder had a gun in his hand and clearly intended to kill him. Derek was terrified out of his mind, but survival instinct kicked in instantly. He struggled with everything he had, finally shoving the attacker away before grabbing the golf club and smashing it hard into the man's face. After a painful scream, the intruder turned and bolted downstairs, quickly disappearing into the night. Not long after the police were called, multiple officers arrived at the house and carefully searched every room. Derek also told the police everything that had happened in full detail. Just when Derek thought the whole thing was nothing more than a normal break-in that would soon pass, the detective assigned to the case showed up. The second Derek saw her face, his mind went completely blank. The detective was none other than Lisa, the same woman he had spent the night with in Las Vegas. Derek's heart instantly shot into his throat, and the atmosphere became painfully awkward. Luckily, Lisa didn't expose their relationship. She simply asked Derek standard questions about the case in a calm, professional tone, showing no sign anything was unusual. She told Derek that based on the crime scene investigation, this didn't look like an ordinary burglary. Nothing valuable had been stolen from the house, which meant the intruder's real target appeared to be Derek himself. The police suspected it may have been a planned murder attempt. After saying that, Lisa handed Derek her business card and told him to contact her immediately if he remembered any new clues or if anything unusual happened. Then she directed the other officers and left the house. Once everyone was gone, the panic inside Derek only grew stronger. Deep down, he had a feeling that Lisa approaching him in Las Vegas had never been some random coincidence. Whether that was true or not, her appearance alone had the power to destroy his entire family. Wanting to protect himself before things got worse, Derek rushed to the police station the very next day with Lisa's business card in hand. He deliberately picked an interrogation room with no surveillance cameras and begged Lisa not to tell anyone about what happened between them, especially his wife. After listening to him, Lisa casually reassured him not to worry, saying she also didn't want her co-workers knowing about her private life. The moment she said that, Derek finally relaxed. He assumed Lisa wanted the same thing he did, to keep the affair from ruining both of their lives. What he didn't know was that Lisa's words were only temporary damage control. The reason she didn't expose Derek wasn't because she wanted to protect the secret. It was because he still had value to her. The more panicked Derek became, the easier it would be for Lisa to carry out her plan. The story took a major turn 3 days later. That afternoon, Lisa suddenly contacted Derek herself. She claimed they had found new leads related to the attack and asked Derek to come identify something with her. After driving for a while, Lisa brought Derek to a beachfront resort area. Then she handed him a pair of binoculars and told him to look at the people inside the fourth house on the left to see if he recognized them. The moment Derek looked where she pointed, he froze completely. The man inside the villa was none other than Raph, his business partner and closest friend. And the woman standing beside Raph was his wife, Tracy. Through the binoculars, Derek could clearly see the two acting intimately, laughing together, and even kissing each other. At that moment, Derek's heart shattered completely. He couldn't understand how the two people he trusted most had betrayed him together behind his back. Lisa then revealed that she suspected the people behind the attack on Derek that night were his best friend and his wife. If Derek died immediately, Tracy would inherit all of his money and company shares, allowing her to finally be with Raph openly. Blinded by rage and constantly manipulated by Lisa, Derek never once questioned whether any of it was real. He hated his wife and Raph with every fiber of his being, never realizing Lisa was simply using him as a weapon to kill for her. She carefully manipulated Derek's emotions, pushing him toward murderous thoughts against his best friend and wife while she quietly benefited from the chaos. After returning from the beach, Derek sank into complete despair. All he wanted now was to gather evidence and make the two people who betrayed him pay the price. But what he never expected was that just as he began planning everything out, the police suddenly showed up at his front door and informed him that Tracy and Raph had both been shot dead at the beach house. Hearing the news, Derek was shocked. But deep inside, he also felt a strange sense of relief. Part of him believed karma had finally caught up to the two people who betrayed him. But after the brief satisfaction came an even bigger nightmare. Because of Tracy and Raph's deaths, Derek had the clearest motive to kill them. After all, he had just discovered their affair. He had motive, opportunity, and plenty of reason to snap. So the police quickly labeled Derek as the prime suspect. Now, if the police found enough evidence, a life sentence was almost guaranteed. Almost overnight, Derek's reputation was destroyed, and everyone saw him as a cold-blooded killer. His company took a devastating hit. Business partners immediately cut ties with him, while employees began quitting one after another. The once successful sports agency turned into an empty shell overnight, lifeless and abandoned. Derek had completely hit rock bottom. He lost his wife, his career, his reputation, and now he could even lose his freedom. Just when he was close to breaking down completely, Lisa appeared again. Right after Tracy's funeral ended, Lisa pulled Derek aside and calmly told him something devastating. The investigation still had no progress, and the police continued treating him as the #1 suspect. She wanted to help him, but there was nothing she could do. Only days earlier, Lisa had repeatedly promised she would help clear his name. Now suddenly hearing her change her story instantly made Derek suspicious. Then what Lisa said next finally opened Derek's eyes. He realized that beautiful encounter in Las Vegas had been nothing more than a carefully planned trap, and Tracy and Raph's deaths had also been orchestrated by Lisa from the very beginning. He had been manipulated like a complete fool the entire time. Even though Derek still didn't fully understand Lisa's real goal, one thing was obvious. He had already lost all ability to fight back. Just as Derek was drowning in confusion, his younger brother noticed something was seriously wrong. His brother had a hot temper, and seeing Derek becoming more exhausted every day made him increasingly worried. He kept demanding to know what had happened. With no other choice, Derek finally told him everything from start to finish. Even after explaining everything, he repeatedly warned his brother not to provoke Lisa because she was dangerous, insisting he would find a way to prove his innocence himself. His brother agreed on the surface, but the moment he left Derek's house, he immediately contacted several criminal friends he knew. Together, they stormed into Lisa's home and demanded to know why she wouldn't leave Derek alone. But Lisa was still a trained detective, and under pressure, she stayed unbelievably calm. First, she pretended she needed to use the bathroom. Then she suddenly slammed a toilet lid into one of the thugs, seized the opportunity to grab a shotgun hidden in the ceiling, and ended the fight with a single blast. Not only did the gangsters die, but Derek's brother didn't survive either. In less than 5 minutes, Lisa wiped them all out with ease. Afterward, she called Derek and lured him to a beach house. The death of his brother completely shattered Derek's self-control. Furious, he charged at Lisa, ripped the pistol from her waist, and pulled the trigger without hesitation.
No blanks in this one. Drop it.
That was when Lisa finally revealed her true motive. Everything she had done was for her child. It turned out Lisa had a daughter with her ex-husband, but after their divorce, custody was awarded to him, and Lisa had never seen her daughter again. She had repeatedly tried negotiating with her ex, but nothing ever worked. Out of desperation, she came up with this twisted plan, using the secrets she held over Derek to force him into killing her ex-husband for her. Once her ex was dead, Lisa would legally regain custody of her daughter. She even promised Derek that if he cooperated, she would help restore his reputation and recover everything he had lost afterward. Derek had no choice but to follow Lisa's instructions and wait along the route her ex-husband used during his morning jogs. But Derek never truly intended to kill anyone. He approached the man hoping to convince him to expose Lisa's scheme together. Unfortunately, the man didn't believe a single word. The moment he heard Lisa's name, he flew into a rage, attacking Derek before he could finish explaining anything. During the struggle, the gun in Derek's hand accidentally fired, and the bullet struck the ex-husband husband in a fatal spot. Not long later, he stopped breathing. Derek couldn't believe he had actually killed someone. Completely panicked, he picked up the gun and fled the scene. After finishing the job, Derek immediately rushed to Lisa's house to report back. On the surface, Lisa appeared to keep her promise and returned the evidence she had used to frame Derek. But the second Derek turned around, Lisa attempted to silence him permanently. Luckily, Derek was a skilled shooter himself. After a violent gunfight, he managed to kill Lisa while taking minimal injuries. And during their conversation, Derek had secretly recorded everything on his phone. That recording would become the strongest evidence proving his innocence.